Please return Bubbles, your flight attendant, to her fully upright and locked position. Oh, wait a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat and buckle up. Seat backs and tray tables in their full upright position. It's another episode of Skip Happens.
Your weekly view from 30,000 feet. From the first music lesson to the first paid gig to signing the deal, it's the journey that is the life of an artist. Now, here's your captain and co-captain, a.k.a. your hosts, Skip Clark and Deb Lamphere.
There she is. And hello, everybody. It is Skip Clark, the host of Skip Happens, and my co-host, Deb Lamphere from the Altco and also the Country Music Fan Club. And our special guest tonight, man, I'll tell you, I don't even know where to start.
I know, we're so excited.
The legendary.
Let's start at the end. Let's start at the end and work back.
Okay, so the end. Here we are. We're sitting in the conference room. We're looking at you. We see the pictures of you in the background. Pat Boone, God bless you. There you are. Just what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing great. I tell people I'm 89, doing fine. I'm well into my 90th year, because when you're 89, you've already lived 89 years.
True.
And so now I've embarked into my 90th year, and I'm still working out. I'm still singing. I'm playing tennis. I was out at the gym this morning. I swim, and I'm singing, and I'm getting ready to do a full concert, a 90-minute concert.
Really?
It's called the Coach House in Santa Margarita. No, it's at San Juan Capistrano, isn't it, Dan? San Juan Capistrano. But they talked me into doing a 90-minute concert, which conceivably could be my last, depending on how it goes.
Not with the energy you have. No.
I'm tired already. We haven't even started, and
I know.
We were talking. I'm like,
he's working out more than me.
Well, I have to do it because, and I always have, though. Actually, I've been a gym rat and a recording fool.
Nothing wrong with that. Look at you. That's why you look so good. On top of the fact that you live in California, you're right off of Hollywood Boulevard. Am I correct?
Well, not far off Sunset.
Sunset, okay.
First Sunset, then Hollywood.
Gotcha. Is that near Rodeo?
It's Rodeo comes between them. It's sort of perpendicular, Rodeo. But Rodeo, of course, is a famous place, and that's where so many shops are. And so far, some have been broken into in this day of breaking into shops and looting. Yes, a couple have been, even in Hollywood and Beverly Hills, California. But listen, folks, if we're not careful, we don't want to get on a somber note here, but we're going to have to be on our knees praying for this country to escape some of what's happening elsewhere around most of the world. So let's talk about happiness.
Okay, wow. I did have real quick though. I did have a cup of coffee on Rodeo Drive. It was a few years ago. My wife was out there for a conference, and I kind of went walking around and ended up having a cup of coffee there just for the sake of saying I did that on Rodeo Drive. So.
And it's fun. It's not anything in particular, really, but just knowing you're there has a cachet to it. Yeah,
it does.
Let me say one quick thing about that. This is an interjection. You'll have to slap me to keep me from doing this. But I was being given an award by the Beverly Hills Chamber of Commerce recently. And they were also giving an award to Playboy Enterprises that same night. And Hugh Hefner, of course, was not there, but people managing his businesses, which are a source of revenue for Beverly Hills, was being honored. And there I was, as Will Rogers was when he was once a mayor of Will Rogers, way back. Wow. So here I was going to be interviewed and awarded last. The guy from Playboy Enterprises went on and said how proud they were to be in Beverly Hills and contributing to the overall climate, the overall financial health.
The economy and all that. Okay.
Yeah, all that. And then they introduced me, and I come up and I said, boy, this is really amazing. The two of us to be interviewed on the same program, Playboy and Prayboy.
Two total opposite ends of the spectrum there.
It's something you'll never forget, too.
That's right.
Oh, my gosh, that's great.
I'm glad to be known that way, though.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing. Let's talk about what's going on with you, though. I got notice. I know last time around we talked about a single that you had dropped to country, and now you've got a new one. It's a duet with Crystal Gayle. Don't it make my brown eyes blue fame? Oh,
well, it was her song. That was originally her song, but this one is one she did with Eddie Rabbitt.
Right, back in early '80s. I think it was like '82. You and I, and
it was like 40 years ago.
Oh, stop.
Oh, no.
And then Eddie died 20 years ago.
Right.
So Crystal and her husband, they of course wanted their song to be heard again. And it was a Grammy-winning million seller back then. So they said, who can we get to sing it with you? And somebody thought of Pat Boone. I was thrilled to sing with Crystal Gayle. And she's so beautiful, and she still sings great. And so we went in the studio and we got very emotional about this song. It is an emotional love song. I have yet to mention it to anybody over 30 who doesn't say, oh, I love that song. I've always loved that song, you know. Just you and I, we share our love together. We made it, you and I. It's a beautiful song.
Oh, gosh.
And while we were singing it, and you see it in the video, it's like we're singing it to each other and bonding, and we were bonding in an innocent way. But as at the end of it, you see a picture of my wife Shirley, and we dedicated that song and all the emotion about it to her.
Yeah.
And my wife, she and I did make it for 67 years, and she's in heaven now, waiting for me. I know where she is. People say, oh, "I'm sorry about you losing your wife." I didn't lose her. I know where she is, and she's waiting for me. She hasn't lost me either. We're going to be yoke fellows before long.
I love it. Now, did you record that there in California, or did you make the trip to Nashville, or where was that?
It was Nashville with the great Nashville musicians and Jimmy Bishop, Jimmy Nichols, not Bishop. I don't know why I always want to say Bishop. Jimmy Nichols producing and arranging, great arrangement, and it was an emotional time. It really was. And it comes through in the record.
It does. It does. I watched the video. You spoke of it just a few minutes ago. There's a video on YouTube for those that are watching this, and I will attach it to this interview afterwards, and it'll be right there for you to view. But you can actually see and feel that connection, Crystal singing and you singing, and the eye contact. It's just
looking at each other.
Yeah.
And you know, she, I'm sure, was thinking about her husband. They've been together a long time. I was thinking about Shirley, but each was a proxy for the other. And I get teary when the song ends and I reach out and I take her hand.
Wow.
It was saying volumes, like, I appreciate doing this and you doing this with me and what it means to both of us. And I mean, it was like it was about she and I, but it wasn't. She was singing it about her husband, and I was singing it about my wife, but we were proxies for the objects of our affection.
How, when you walked in the studio, was it like a one take, or how long did it take you to actually lay this down?
You know, it didn't take long. My friend Dana was there at the session.
I mean, you're both very talented, so I wouldn't imagine that it would take a lot of time.
Well, it did not take a long time. We rehearsed. We had to make sure the whole beautiful arrangement, a full orchestra. I mean, they spared no expense in the beauty of the thing. And then we rehearsed it several times because we wanted to get it right. But I doubt that we did more than 4 or 5 takes. We might have, not that many. Dana says he was there.
Yep.
Because these days you can do a number of takes, and then you can go in, and engineers can go in and take out 3 seconds, 5 seconds, half a word. You know, they can they can edit it like that. But no, there was none of that in this album. I mean, when we finished it, about, I'd say 2 hours from the time we started rehearsing it until we had it finished, we knew we had the record.
A whole album you recorded in 2 hours?
No, this was this was just the one song.
Oh, I was going to say that would have been absolutely amazing.
No,
had you done that.
I do another little footnote though. I love Chris Isaac. He's gone now, but He was a big Boone fan, and he used to wear a T-shirt. Pat Boone belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He actually campaigned for me to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because he knew all of my early rock and roll records, and he knew I had more actual hit chart records, rock and roll, than some that are in there now. But of course, I'd committed the cardinal sins of recording something other than rock and roll, movie tunes and gospel and country. And so how could I be a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer? So I'm not in there, but it was a wonderful experience. So Eddie, who did I just mention? Chris Isaak. Could not believe that I recorded a song which was a million seller for me called "Don't Forbid Me." Don't forbid me to hold you tight. Darling, don't forbid me to hold you tight. Let me hold you in my love and arms. I loved it because it had those low notes.
Right.
And so we had not gotten to that song. We'd recorded 3 songs, and we had about 40 minutes left. And Randy Wood, the head of Dot Records, said, "Guys, we don't really have time to do another song, so you can put up your equipment and leave a little early." So I went over to Billy Vaughn at the piano, and I said, "What's this other song we didn't do, Billy?" He said, "Oh, you'd like this one." He said, "It's got some low notes in it." Play me a little of it. He played about half of it. I stopped him. I ran in the control room. I said, "Randy, have them get their equipment out. We got to do this song. We've only got 30 minutes left." I said, "Randy, this song is going to pay for the whole session." And he acquiesced. We did go half over. He didn't a half hour. And he didn't like that. But from 1 hour, this is what Chris Isaak couldn't understand. 1 hour from the time I heard the first notes of the song until we had the finished record, it was 1 hour. And people just don't record that way anymore.
No, absolutely.
But it immediately sold a million seller. Don't Forbid Me. And Chris he played it. His roadies told me that he played it on his bus all the time whenever they were touring. And they said, "We're sick of hearing it, but congratulations, it's a good record."
That's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. What so off the air we were talking about how many songs have you actually recorded?
It's it's over 2,600. It's close to 2,700 songs. And we can give you title for all of them. These are separate songs. I actually 2 albums with no instrumental music at all, because I started out leading singing in church and we didn't have instrumental music. And my vocal exercise, which I didn't look at it as that, but I could stand up and lead a congregation of 500 people without a microphone. Sing the wondrous love of Jesus, sing his mercy and his grace. Wow. I didn't know what this hand movement was about, but it was just to try to keep everybody singing together. But 8 songs, all 4 verses. And without my even thinking about it, it was great vocal exercise. And if you can project enough to keep 400 or 500 people singing together, a cappella. So I did 2 albums, one with the David Lipscomb College Chorus and one with Abilene Christian College Chorus. Albums of beautiful music with a cappella choruses. But the thing is, if you don't sing well a cappella with an a cappella chorus that are singing beautifully, you better stay home. It
wouldn't be good.
I had to sing well. So I've been a recording nut. I'm very eclectic. I love all kinds of music, of course, jazz and country and gospel. I'm in the Gospel Music Hall of Fame, some 24 gospel albums.
Yep.
But then all kinds of country and novelty and movie themes, and
you did a metal album.
The heavy metal album, and that was an album of heavy metal classics.
And I think
jazz arrangements.
Yeah, I think I remember you in a picture, like a leather jacket, and it might have had the spikes coming out of the sleeves or something.
Well, I still have the tattoos. I tell everybody they're in a drawer at home, but I have them. I can still put them on.
Yeah, look at the muscles on you, dude. That's amazing.
When it made me take pictures, right after I presented the award on the American Music Awards, and we gave the award for hard rock heavy metal to Metallica. And they came on the stage and they were bowing, saying I was their new lead singer because I sang their song Enter Sandman. That was one of the songs. And Shania Twain is only about this tall.
Right.
And they had her doing chin-ups on my
Oh my goodness.
They really did. But as I say, I'm still working out and trying to stay in good shape, vocally, spiritually, physically, and with a sense of humor.
You know, you have the sense of humor, and you're still performing. You're still, you're exercising your brain as well as every other part of your body. I think it's just that whole combination of everything that you're doing. I mean, for a gentleman that's 89 years old, you look fantastic. You look fantastic.
Well, these are my teeth.
I wouldn't,
amazing.
I wouldn't want you to pop them. Look at that's great.
They're the original teeth. I can read almost anything without glasses. My hearing is excellent. Something happened about my hair. My hair gave up. Some of my hair, but I've still got.
Send some of that water this way for us.
Somebody, John Griffin is saying, Pat with the gun show, because you keep doing that.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Do you have a favorite album that I'm sure you have many, but do you have a favorite album that you really sincerely, truly just love?
Yes, I do. And of course it's hard to pick one or two because I've done some that are exceptional, I do believe. I have a love song album called The Touch of Your Lips. Did those with Gordon Jenkins, the great arranger, Frank Sinatra's favorite arranger. And they're beautiful love songs. And The Touch of Your Lips would have to be at the top of toward the top of the list, because in it is a song called Here's to My Lady. Here's to my lady, here's a toast to my lady, and all that my lady means to me. I sang that to Shirley. It's the only song that I actually sang knowingly that I was singing it about and to her with Gordon Jenkins' arrangement. So that album and some of my own movie songs, but an album I did recently, my last album is called Legacy. And it's legacy is something you leave behind for those who come after, that you hope will benefit them. And Legacy, I wrote every word and every note of the music. I don't read music or write music, so the melodies came to me in my brain to go with the words that I was. Sometimes one came first, sometimes the other. But this album is worship songs. Almost all of them created during my own worship times. I read the Bible every year for 45 years. This is the 45th year to start in Genesis and read through to Revelation 22.
Wow.
Day by day, daily portions. There's a Bible called the One Year Bible. Divides the whole Bible into 365 daily portions. And this is my 45th year, and every year I learn more. It's not as if it's, I've read this before. No, it all seems fresh and new every time. And I learn more and more. So those songs coming during my family devotionals, my personal devotionals, are unusual songs. And one of them in particular, well, I'll mention two. One is I had some help from a couple of pretty good writers, the only one on the album that wrote anything but me, and that's Paganini and Rachmaninoff, a couple of very good musicians. It's an instrumental, a melody. It's called Variations on a Theme by Paganini, a theme written by Rachmaninoff, and it's a very familiar melody. Bum 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 bum.
Oh yeah.
Bum 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 bum. The words are not bum bum bum, but I wrote words personifying the Holy Spirit. You are not alone. I'm by your side. Though the world may seem dark, I will be your guide. No matter what you see, no matter what you feel, put your trust in me. Know my love is real, to comfort and sustain, to shield you from the pain. I am by your side. It's a rangy song, but
Yeah.
I personify the Holy Spirit to that melody, and so far, I've got no repercussion from either Paganini or Rachmaninoff.
Wow.
As far as I know, they're happy with the lyrics I wrote to their
Yeah,
melody.
well,
But
if you haven't heard anything, I think all is good. All is good.
but
Yes,
the other one,
news.
the other one is a song that I wrote, and a song that everybody's going to sing. I mean, everybody, because it's called "Jesus is Lord." And the Bible says that they will come when every knee will bow, every tongue confess that Jesus is Lord. So I wrote a song called Jesus is Lord. Very meaningful song. I mean every syllable, and I can't sing it for you right now, but it's from that album. So if I had to pick one album, it would be that Legacy album, which I
Legacy.
wrote every word and every note, except that one I mentioned, that one exception in that album. And so it's what I leave behind. I want people to, really be enjoying my movie themes and my rock and roll and my country and all the other things that I've done. I hope they'll keep on enjoying them. In fact, it's certainly, I can only whisper that it is being discussed, a channel on Sirius
Okay.
XM.
Excellent.
Right,
Oh,
I'm already doing a weekly show called 50s Gold
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Sirius XM. And it airs 8 times a week. And the
Yep.
response has been tremendous because guess what? I met Wolf Blitzer the other day and a bunch of congressmen and senators in Washington, and they were all telling me that they love listening to my 50s Gold show. But it never occurred to me all these people were once teenagers.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, we've all been there, and you were
yeah.
Most of them were teens during my heyday.
right. And when they were listening to Pat Boone on the radio, now as I was growing up, of course, I'm almost 70, but still, I shouldn't even
Mhm.
give my age out. But
Well, you look good too, and that pretty girl behind you does too.
yeah, that's Miss Deb back there. But still,
Thank you.
I'm
I
partial
listen
to
to music.
Debbie's.
What's that?
I'm partial to Debbie's because I grew one.
That's I
Debbie,
was going to go there.
We were
When
going
I
to
was
ask that. Yeah.
I was going through the 70s and You Light Up My Life. If I heard
Yeah.
that
yeah,
song one more time, I was going to throw my radio out the window.
yeah,
But it was a great song. And there was a reason it was getting played so much,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
it's because it was such a big hit.
It was one of the biggest hit singles of all time.
Yes.
And the interesting story to that, everything has a story. Uh, Debbie was 20, living at the house. All my daughters,
Mhm.
none of my daughters ever had her own apartment. Every daughter lived at home until she was married. Debbie, the same, even after her career took off. But when she first heard You Light Up My Life, it was a song that had been recorded by a girl named Casey Sizik,
Okay.
who was doing jingles, commercial jingles in New York with a writer, and he wrote this song about them, and it was going to be the title song of a movie about them and about her trying to find a career in entertainment. And Mike Curb of Dot Records, of Curb Records,
Herb Records.
heard the song, came over to the house. He knew how Debbie sings in our 4-daughter group. And because we recorded together and toured together, my daughters and I, and Shirley, my wife. So he knew how
Mhm.
well Debbie said he liked this song, and she did love it. It was beautiful. And she went into New York to record it with Shirley, her mom going with her, and then a cold studio, because the girl who had recorded it originally did it great in the movie. Casey was holding up the release of the record because now she wanted to have, she and her agent, she didn't want to settle for a beginner royalty with Warner Brothers. And and she was holding everything up. So in desperation, the writer agreed to let Mike Kerr bring Debbie in, and she sat there on a stool and sang You Light Up My Life just in the studio, cold studio, engineer and the writer of the song. And he got goosebumps. We all did. They just erased Casey. I shouldn't be mentioning her name, but they erased her from the tape. They didn't change the music, didn't change anything. They just put Debbie's voice on, put the record out. And of course,
Wow.
Casey is still wondering whatever happened. I recorded that song first, but Debbie Boone had the huge record of it.
Right.
It just took off. Perry Como asked me once when had been number one about 7 or 8 weeks already. He says, "Does it make you a little jealous for your daughter?" I said, "Jealous?" I said, "Wait till she does it 14 or 15 times, then maybe I'll get jealous." No, that's my daughter. I'm thrilled for her. But she was living at home until she got married to the son of Rosemary Clooney and Jose Ferrer. And I drove all 4 of my daughters to the church to get wedded. And then I left them over, turned them over to their husbands. But none of them ever had their own apartment. They lived at home and they were daddy's daughters. And yet guys did break through the guardrails.
Were any of men like afraid to approach you by any chance?
I won't say afraid because they already had Debbie on their side, but and they were good guys, but there was a little nervousness. I mean, I was nervous when I asked her dad, Red Foley, my wife Shirley. We were both 19 and in college, and Red Foley's wife, Shirley's mother, had died very early of rheumatic fever and leaving Red with 3 daughters to raise himself. And he was moving to Springfield. He'd been hosting the Ozark Jubilee for 9 years by then, took over for Roy Acuff. And he was going to start this show. Nobody knew how it would do on TV, but it became a huge hit on ABC for 9 years. Ozark Jubilee, Red Foley, Square Dancers, all Dolly Parton and Brenda Lee and, all the country artists on the show. But we didn't know that was going to happen. But he was taking those 3 girls away, including Shirley. And we were already in love for 3 years. We fell in love at 16 and we were already wondering how many kids we'd have and naming them at 19. And now he's taking her away. So I sat down in the breakfast nook out on Bear Road, great sumptuous home, much nicer than the one that I grew up in, although there was more love in our home, I think. But anyway, I asked him, I called him Mr. Red. Mr. Red, I love your daughter, Shirley. He looked at me and he says, "I think you do. You feel the same way about him, don't you, honey?" And Shirley said, "Yes, Daddy, I do." Wow. And he started tearing up. And he said, "What do you want?" And I said, "Well, I want to ask you for your permission. I've already asked Shirley for us to be married." And he said, "I thought you did." And he didn't say it, but I knew later that he was remembering when he married Shirley's mama. Her mama was 17 when he proposed marriage to her mom and was 18 when Shirley was born. So, I mean, for us to be asking, she was already at 19 becoming an old maid, in her family. 18. And so Red was very emotional about it. He said, "Well, are you going to take care of my girl?" And very naively, I said, "Yes, Mr. Red, yes, I want to take care of your girl." Wow. And tears rolled down his nose into his coffee, and he said, "I'll buy your rings." When are you thinking about doing it? We said tomorrow.
Oh my goodness.
Like that quick.
This was Friday, but we wanted to get married Saturday, the next day, because he was leaving for Springfield on Monday and taking his girls with him. So we got married by a high school principal, a minister. We couldn't get a license in Davidson County that quickly. So he married us, and then we went to Springfield, Tennessee, to a justice of the peace named Alan Killam, who then married us again, and it was legal then. We had the license. And so we got married twice that day, and it really took. We've been married now 67 years.
Oh my gosh.
What in the world why did you bring that up?
I don't know. I forgot. Did I? It's been a beautiful story, though. Both Skip and I are sitting here like just all ears. I feel like we can listen to you and your love story and your songs of love just
I've
for
got 3 more hours.
I know you're on California time.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I know it's our bedtime here. You're 3 hours behind.
But you ask. I think the question, what's your favorite album?
Yeah,
so
that was minutes ago.
It would be either the Legacy album or the Touch with Your Lips album with Gordon Jenkins. But now, wait a minute. I ought to say that my new album called Country Jubilee.
Yes, let's talk about that.
I think that this is going to have to be reckoned with by the Country Music Academy because it's a unique album. There's never been one like it because country artists don't generally do each other's songs. I mean, Hank Williams is an exception.
Right.
Most every country artist has done Hank Williams songs, but George Jones songs stay George Jones. Eddie Arnold songs stay Eddie Arnold. And even Tennessee Waltz, I hadn't recorded it for years after my career began because Patti Page already had a million-selling record of that. But in my recording through the years, through the 65 or 70 years of recording, I was always recording country songs. No matter what else was in the album, I would record my favorite country songs that fit that album with beautiful arrangements. So now the Country Academy knew nothing about it. In this album, it's 26 million selling songs.
Wow.
All sung by one artist. Now that's never been done in the music business or the government, or the country music industry.
Right.
And to have 26 songs, all million sellers, and we're including the Just You and I because it was a million seller by Crystal Gayle. I mean, Hank Williams songs were hits by Hank Williams. Eddie Arnold songs by him. But Pat Boone did their songs and beautiful arrangements. And my Tennessee Waltz, I will put up against anybody else's. And so they're going to have to. This is sort of in its own way a history of country music.
Oh my gosh.
And then this, I don't know if you saw this.
Dana or Dan was showing that to me earlier. Look at that.
So it is really a package. Now, the irony of it is, who's buying records now? I mean,
Pat, that's all coming back. The vinyl is, people are looking for vinyl.
And this is vinyl, beautiful, expensive vinyl. And the CD, we have a CD of all the music as well, if people haven't scrapped their CD players. But it is, 2 of the songs, Grits and Just You and I, are already going crazy on Spotify, Pandora, all. And in fact, Grits is on every country. What do we got? 370,000 streams on Grits and 152,000 already on You and I with Crystal.
Yeah,
so that's great. That's very gratifying. But I don't get but some minuscule part of a penny from every time the songs are streamed. So here I got some country hits. The album, I think, is going to be a hit on its own. And it is vinyl, and it's beautiful. And you can't think, no matter what song on this album I sing, if you love country music, it's one of your favorites already. And no other one artist has ever done that.
It is unheard of nowadays to have 26 songs on one album, let alone 26, multi-million selling songs.
And everybody's favorites. Who doesn't like have you ever passed a corner of 4th and Grand? Did I sing that already on this show?
Well, listen,
I think you did, but it was before we actually went on, when we were just
on the air.
I love doing that song.
It sounds so good.
Shoeshine Boy. It's got such a crazy rhythm, but it's got some of the same rhythm as my gospel song that was the #1 hit during the rock and roll. What are you showing me? The song titles? Yeah, Chattanooga Shoeshine Boy, What You and I, Alabama Cowboy Copas, Just a Closer Walk with Thee with the Jordanaires, Red Foley, Texas Woman, which was a million seller for mine, Take These Chains from My Heart, Hank Williams, Steal Away Another Red Foley, Floyd Kramer's Last Date. I wrote the words to my version. His was a piano version.
You wrote the words to that?
Words to Last Date.
Wow. Okay.
Old Heart, Old Shep. I mean, if you like country music, you must have somewhere along the way heard Red Foley's Old Shep, and about a boy and his dog. And you got to have 2 or 3 Kleenex when you listen. And it was the first. I was going to say,
I already know it's going to make me cry.
Yeah.
You said that.
And it was the first song Elvis ever sang in public. Old Shep in a high school performance. He sang Old Shep. I don't know why, and I wasn't there. But Peace in the Valley, Closer Walk with Thee, Tennessee Waltz, of course, Kalijah, Hank Williams, Paper Roses, Wolverton Mountain, Tennessee Saturday Night, just goes on and on. And the songs are just, all of them, songs that each one, I love that one. And it's that kind of an album, not songs that you're just learning and hearing for the first time, but songs you already love and wish you had copies of, because maybe you did have and they're gone or worn out.
Probably worn out.
But I do all my versions of the songs I love, and if this is the kind of hit that I think it will be, we're already putting together volume 2, because I have recorded that many country songs all along the way in my whole career. And I'm talking about big hits.
See, that's what a lot of people don't realize. This is the Pat Boone. We know you from the movies. We know you from songs like Love Letters in the Sand and April Love, and that whole era. We know you, you're doing things with Sinatra, and you've done this, and you've been everywhere. Yeah. And now you've included country into your life, or it probably has been for a while.
It always was, because I'm so glad you said that, because one of the big reasons I want this album to be successful is because the reason America exists is not just as a nation, but as a country. Why do we call America a country? Because it was created by country people. Jefferson, Monroe, Adams, they were all farmers. They came off farms. And then when we fought the British and the French for this country, the farmers just threw down their plowshares and their pickaxes and picked up their muskets, and they defeated the British and the French, because they were country people with country values, and they wanted to create a country. And the Declaration of Independence was written by, I would say, all the framers of the Constitution were country people, virtually. Some shopkeepers, maybe a doctor or two here and there, but mainly country people, basing it on the Bible, which was known throughout the country. And so America became a country before it became a nation. And the music, well, Jason Aldean right now, that song of his, and the
Small Town.
And the one, what's his name?
Oliver.
Oliver, whatever that last name. Standing out in the fields, playing his guitar and singing about the rich men.
Richmond, north of Washington.
Richmond and Richmond. But country people communicating with country people. Country philosophy, country theories, country religion is what made us who we are. And de Tocqueville, the historian, he at the time when we were still a young country, he said, what is it about America that makes them so special? He said, America is great because America is good. If America ceases to be good, America will cease to be great. Where did our goodness come from?
That's true.
The Bible in country homes.
Yep.
And a lot of our music, of course, has come right fresh out of the country and country hearts and country people. We've got to get back to country values.
We do.
This country's gone too far into wokeism, into all kinds of things that have nothing to do with either the Bible, the Constitution, or even American ways of life.
Yep. And it needs to get back to what it used to be.
Yeah.
No question about that. But I do have a question. Where can they find the new album? Do they have to go online and order it? What's the deal?
Well, I've got to get some help from my business partner here, but of course, patboone.com.
Okay.
And if you go to patboone.com, we've made a special deal. If they'll buy it and send it to me, I'll autograph it to them and send it back. And people are doing it already. We're surprised. I'm at this table and sitting here and just autographing with a felt tip gold pen because I want it to show up on this cover. Mm-hmm. And so I'll just put their name and
very nice
autograph on it. And people, but it takes a long time.
Takes time.
To get that. Where else can they get it? Online.
Go label artists.
Go label artists on the internet.
Okay, Go Label Artist. I think that's your label, or
that's our label. Yeah.
Yes.
I know we can sell it to you. I can't distribute it to everybody that wants it or I'd like to.
No, I know. I wouldn't expect you to do that.
And I don't know I would like a distributor, but even distributors, record stores are closing down. I mean, going out of business.
I see your people just posted something there on our comments where they can get a signed copy of the Country Jubilee, and they put the link right there. So anybody that's watching this, anybody that sees that, click on that link. You can get yourself that album, and if you get in there soon enough, he's going to autograph that for you. So
and hopefully some stores will decide to stock the albums. But if it gets enough attention, and if let's say it wins some kind of an award from the Country Music Academy, which would be a capper to my whole life as a recording artist, if that were to happen, then of course chances are it might find its way into stores. But people are, unless they've got the turntables, they are now starting to buy turntables again.
Yeah.
Yes.
And vinyl in production is on the upswing. So I'm hoping I'm catching a wave.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this. Scotty McCreery has vinyl out now. Carrie Underwood, her latest album, Diamonds and Rhinestones, I think it is. That's vinyl. There's more and more coming in. Yeah, we get the digital for the on air, but still they give us stuff to give away and all that. We're getting the vinyl. And I've seen the vinyl. If you can go to a Walmart and see a whole aisle of vinyl.
It's starting to come back now. Yeah.
I went to a record store in Gallatin, Tennessee, where Randy Wood started the store and then started Dot Records. And it grew to be a giant right along with Decca, RCA, and Columbia. And that was the album in which I recorded at least 1,000 or 1,500 of my songs on Dot. And then I went to 2 or 3 other labels and kept recording and recording. So now it's up to almost 2,700 separate songs. And it created my own album, my own record company called Lamb and Lion, or Pat Boone's Gold. But anyway, I went to this store. It's called Randy's Record Shop. This was 3 or 4 weeks ago, and signed records for 4 or 5 hours. People came in from all over the place, and I signed this album, mainly the Country Jubilee album, and then some of the singles, and then they'd bring all their own albums that they already had collected, many of them, and I'd sign those, and wore me out, but in a fun way, a good way. Yeah. I was happy to get bone tired signing my own records for people.
You get tired, but you don't really get tired.
Right.
Weary, but not tired. Yeah.
And I was going to ask, I mean, you just mentioned it, but I said, why don't you go out and do an album signing somewhere? Take, a few hundred records and go set up shop somewhere. And if they buy the album, you sign it and it's a done deal. You've already done that.
I did that at Randy's record shop, and that was just 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
But the difficulty is that, first of all, I don't know. I mean, if I was Taylor Swift, or maybe at this moment, Jason Aldean, maybe Garth Brooks, maybe a store would want me to sit down for 3 or 4 hours. I did that several times at Music City on the strip there in Nashville, and for 3 or 4 hours at a time. But now that store is gone.
Right.
So we're like whistling in the wind in a way. We're making albums, believing that there's still going to be a market for them and for the songs.
What about a bookstore? You know what I mean? They do books, but I know there's some bookstores. I'm trying to think what we have around here, but they
Barnes and
like
Noble.
a Barnes
Noble, that's-
and Noble. Yeah.
We might
Barnes.
do it
And
in
they
one
have-
store,
They
but
have
I tell
vinyl
you,
too, I think, right?
to spend, I must say though, to spend 3 or 4 hours in one location and sign as many records as you can is good, but at the cost per hour of what I normally make from any of my endeavors, it doesn't compare.
Right.
And it doesn't seem to be, except in a special something that'll be, much recorded and draw a lot of attention. It's not a time well spent. However, I will never turn down an album that's sent to me to sign. I'll guarantee that.
Excellent. I was going to ask, are you charging us for this podcast?
Well, we haven't discussed it, but we'll talk about that. I'm kidding. Of course not. You're doing me a tremendous favor. I know that.
Yeah, and you're doing us a tremendous favor, and it's such an honor to be able to sit and have a nice conversation with you, the legendary Pat Boone, everything. I went to Google you just for the sake of doing it, and I'm sorry, but there was way too much there to read about.
Yeah.
It was just like, this is crazy.
Over 3 million. I haven't gotten the count lately, but there's something like over 3 million items about all the things I've been doing in my whole life. I mean, it's stuff that will amaze you. Things like I helped start the ABA basketball league. I made the biggest deal in the history of Shark Tank, $5 million for half of a plant to build the car that runs on compressed air, and starting charities in our home that are $500 million a year charities now, like Mercy Corps, building freshwater wells and giving food in impoverished nations in Africa. I mean, things like this that I've just done through the years, and almost extracurricular things that people have no idea about.
Now, the stuff that you do, I know, Deb, this is amazing.
There's history here that we're not even aware of.
Yeah, and this is why you're here, Pat, because you are blessed, and what you've done for organizations, what you've done for so many different people is just more than anyone else that I could think of. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. Just a wonderful man.
I don't want to brag on it, but
you need to brag. You deserve
to. When I was hosting the Easter Seals Telethon for 20 years, we raised $600 million for kids with handicaps. But then the TV stations not only quit giving the time, they quit selling the time to telethons. They didn't want to interrupt their own programming. So they quit doing telethons. But for 18 years, I helped raise over $600 million. But it wasn't just me. It was, of course, the whole Easter Seal organization doing great things. And then I helped Rabbi Eckstein start the Fellowship of Christians and Jews, which is bringing Christians and Jews together. And even now is doing tremendous work in Israel. And now, oh boy, what's happening in Israel, that's another whole subject. But then I wrote the words to the theme song, not the theme song, but what's considered the national anthem of Israel, Exodus. This land is mine, God gave this land to me. And I wrote those words to Ernest Gold's melody, but it was an instrumental theme, and there weren't any words. And the publisher told my manager at the time that there wouldn't be any lyrics because, interestingly, Jewish songwriters could not come up with a lyric for for that beautiful melody, trying to compress 3,000 years of history into that one little melody. But on a Christmas Eve in '59, I was listening to the Ferrani Teicher piano record.
Mhm.
Bum, 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 bum. And my wife Shirley kept saying, Pat, would you please quit? Would you help me get the presents under the tree so we can go to bed? It was Christmas Eve. I was trying to get an idea for the words of that song. And I said, just one more time, honey, the 40th time I put the needle on the album. Bum, 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 bum. And the words, this land is mine, came to me. And I thought, what? That's the whole history of the people of Israel in 4 words.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum. God gave this land to me. In other words, make it about one person staking claim to his or her part of this nation called Israel, and granted by God to him or her. And so until I die, this land is mine. In 20 minutes, I just kept putting the needle on and took dictation. And it became the lyric. And now that Christmas card on which I wrote the words is on exhibition on the wall of the Righteous Gentile at
Oh, wow.
Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Museum, along with Oscar Schindler and Corrie ten Boom and the other Christians who risked their lives and everything for the Jews during the Holocaust period. And so now my song, they consider the Jewish national anthem. They want every Jewish child to be able to at least recite those words if they can't sing the melody. So walk this land with me, though I'm just a man. When you are by my side with the help of God, I know I can be strong to make this land our home. If I must fight, I'll fight to make this land our own. Until I die, this land is mine. And so those words just fit. And I just took dictation and wrote them on the back of a Christmas card. And that card now is on display in the Holocaust Museum. So
Amazing.
That's why you see all those millions of. I've been too eclectic for my own good. I mean, my wife Shirley said a long time ago, Pat, people don't know who you are. Are you a country singer? Yeah. Are you a pop singer? Yeah. Are you a jazz singer? Yeah. Are you gospel? Yes. Are you political? Yes. Are you in business? Yes. And the yes to all those avenues, they've just been, but I've had the opportunity, I guess, because of the celebrity that came with the music, to do the other things that are far different, but spring out of, at least my part of it, springs out of the fact that I've been so prolific and successful in recording. Elvis was my opening act the first time we met in Cleveland. I think you know that story. The sock hop in Cleveland. Yep. And we remained friends right through his life. We were 2 Tennessee boys, me from Nashville, him from Memphis. And we stayed in touch until after his career was well underway, and mine too. And we visited each other's homes. We had homes that were close to each other in Bel Air. Mine, I moved eventually into Beverly Hills. He stayed in rented homes in Bel Air. I don't think he ever owned a home out here, but he rented places. And then we were making movies at 20th Century Fox and adjacent studios. Right. So we visited back and forth. He'd come over on a Sunday afternoon, and when my girls were little, and in the pool, and they'd see Elvis walk in the backyard with 1 or 2 of his buddies, and they jump up and go run and jump up on him. I said, "Girls, stop that! You're getting them all wet." "Leave him alone, man. I like it." And he did like he wanted what I had, which was a wife and kids, a family. But up to then, it was denied him. Then he got married. And he had the 1 child, but the marriage didn't last. And don't want to talk too much about him because I get emotional about Elvis, about the kinship we did have, and what we both had in abundance. But how I've said to many times now, sometimes it's too much is more dangerous than too little.
It's true. Yeah,
Too much
absolutely.
can ruin your life, and too little, you at least can hopefully live through it. But with my wife Elvis said, "I wish I could go to church like you do." I said, "You can." No, I'd be a distraction. I said, "Don't you think if I go to a church where I'm not a member already, that I am somewhat of a distraction?" Because, I was matching him record for record for 20 years. And he says, "Yeah, but I distract from the preacher and maybe disrupt the service." I said, "No, do what I do. Just tell the kids when they see you that you're arriving. Arrive a little early, get there, and then tell the kids you'll sign their bulletins after the service, but let you worship like they want to do, and you go in. And then you'll sign their bulletins. They'll take them to school, and the kids will say, 'Where'd you get that? He was at your church? Elvis or Pat was at your church? Can we come?' And to make it an evangelical outreach, Well, he sort of smiled at it and said, 'No, I just can't do it.' Do you know Oral Roberts?"
Yes.
And I know, I mean, he said,
yeah. Okay.
"Do you know Oral Roberts?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'd like to talk to him sometime." Well, I said, "Let me give you a clue. Your name is Elvis Presley. Get on the phone to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Ask him to connect you to Oral Roberts University. Say, 'This is Elvis Presley. I'd like to talk to President Roberts.' And in 15 seconds, Oral Roberts will be on the phone. So that's all I can't do it." He socially was inept. He was not comfortable with people he didn't know and in crowds. It was always with his buddies around him. And of course, they would have been haranguing him and crowding him in. But he just wasn't comfortable with people he didn't know. And so, but I told Oral Roberts, he flew out and met with Elvis and let me know that he and Elvis prayed together. He came, Oral went home saying he's starved. He wants to be in a church like he was with his family when he was a boy, and he thinks he can't do it anymore. He's a prisoner of his own fame. He has to live like public enemy number one instead of the biggest guy in the entertainment business. And that's what got him down. I mean, that's what burdened him so much. I mean, his family couldn't last. He was not with his daughter anymore. And he still had everything, but all the things that mattered most to him
We're missing.
out of reach. And he took too many sleeping pills and didn't wake up. I hope he's in heaven, and I believe he is. Maybe he and my wife Shirley have spent some. If it's, I don't know if you call it time in heaven, because it's not really
Been having that conversation.
not really time, but
Yes.
some of their eternal existence together, I hope.
Pat, I'm just blown away with this conversation. I am all ears. Normally, I can't stop talking. Tonight, it's been just amazing.
Well, I'm sorry, really. You probably
Don't
had some
apologize. No. This has been like a highlight of what I do. This is a moment that we'll never ever forget. Is the moment that Deb and I sat down and talked to Pat Boone. And because everything that you've said tonight has been 100% right on. You are a great example of what life should be. You married your sweetheart, you stayed with her, and you're going to see her again someday. And that kind of, if I may ask that, and I know you've told this story before, I think the last time we had you on, the moment that you were filming and you had to kiss somebody, but then you were hesitant about kissing somebody because
Shirley Jones in my second movie.
Okay.
And it wasn't in the script. That's I mean, I hadn't considered or talked with my wife about kissing scenes in movies. This thing happened to me, and I didn't seek it. Suddenly I'm making movies, and the director, Henry Levin, at the end of a music scene on a Ferris wheel in a country fair, and Shirley Jones and my character and I are getting closer and closer together. He says, "Now lean in and kiss her." I said, "On the lips?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Well, this wasn't in the script, Henry." And before I could even say, he said, "But you got to kiss the leading lady." I said, "But I want to talk to my leading lady at home about it first. I just want to find out if it's going to be a problem for me to come home saying I spent a couple of delightful hours kissing our friend Shirley Jones today for work. I'm getting paid for it." But no, he said, "Well, we'll do it later, but this was the perfect spot." So I didn't, because I went home and I talked to Shirley that night, and she said, "Look, I'm ahead of you. I know what the movie business is. You've got a 7-year deal. There's going to be a lot of kissing going on. Promise me one thing." "What is it?" I said. She said, "You won't enjoy it." I said, "Okay, I promise I won't enjoy it." And I went back to the studio the next day to tell the director, "Okay, I'll kiss Shirley Jones." Well, it was already too late, and it was planned for later. And before we ever got to the next place where the kissing would have happened, newspapers, the trade papers had it. "Pat Boone refuses to kiss the leading lady in his film. They assumed
Oh my
for
God.
religious reasons," making me sound like a little namby-pamby
Who
idiot.
releases this stuff? That's just,
And it went around the world. I mean, for years after that, whenever I'd appear in foreign countries, one of the first questions, "Is it true you won't kiss your leading lady?" And I'm saying, "No, it's not. I've kissed Shirley. I've kissed, I didn't kiss Shirley Jones, but I've kissed Anne Margaret. I've kissed Diane Baker and Debbie Reynolds and other nice actresses along the way." And I have to tell them that story. But I was getting telegrams from all over the country. "Stick to your gun, boy. There's finally somebody with morals in the movie business." And I'm saying, "Wait a minute. It's not immoral for me to kiss the leading lady in a film. It's just work. And I won't enjoy it. I promised Shirley I wouldn't enjoy it." Well, there were a couple of times that she probably looked at me like, "You're saying you didn't enjoy that?" When I kissed Anne Margaret, had a real smoocher. But I did kiss Shirley Jones 50 years later with her husband, Marty Eagle, sitting in a wheelchair next to her. They did a reworked, repolished new print of April Love. And we sat there and we watched the film, and that scene where I didn't kiss her showed. And when the film finished and we were being interviewed on tape, Dana, I keep saying this every time I tell this, we got to contact the Cinematech people somewhere. They were filming this. I'm in 2 director chairs, and I said, we're going to do the kiss now after 50 years, because my wife Shirley had said, "Yeah, you can have one kiss," and even her husband Marty, who was there, said, you can have one kiss." So I said, "I'm directing now," and so I lean with the cameras on. I lean in. I said, "We're 2 teenagers. This is our very first kiss. It's not going to be, Fatal Attraction, slapping her against the wall or something. No."
Right.
A teenage kiss. I went, that was it, and I back away. And that is on film, but somewhere I got to find it that kiss came 50 years later.
Wow.
But in my own experience, when I kissed Shirley, we hadn't kissed Shirley for 9 months when we first started dating, because I'd gone steady a couple of times, and no sooner did I go steady with a girl than I realized I'm supposed to call her every night. If I go somewhere, I'm supposed to take her with me. We're going to be locked with each other all the time. I wanted out, from
Right.
going steady. And she probably did too. The girl probably did as well. But so I waited 9 months to kiss Shirley Foley, and it was a surprise even to me. But I was saying goodnight at the door to Red Foley's home, where she was about to go in. We'd been on a hayride in an autumn night with the high school class, and we were feeling romantic. So I just leaned in and kissed her, just a quick little like that. And I said goodnight, honey. And then I left and got in the car. And I swear, I didn't feel like I was sitting on the seat. I was just swinging back and forth under the steering wheel. I mean, it just tingled all over. She went inside and talked to her 2 sisters, younger. She said, "Well, he kissed me tonight, but I waited for that." Now, it was just that little kiss that I did Shirley Jones.
Oh
But
my God.
that kiss sealed my fate for the next 67 years or more, because we weren't married immediately. But
Right.
anyway, a kiss can be dangerous, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
I have a question.
it'd be like
Have you, these stories just are so amazing. Like I just love every one more than the next. Have
Hey,
you written
brains out.
they what?
I've talked your brains out. My
Oh
God.
no, you didn't. No, no, no.
How does
But
Was there a question you meant to ask me that we haven't gotten to?
well, there's a lot of them, but that's okay. Well, this one, no. Have you written a memoir at all?
Twice.
You have. Okay.
Yeah, once after 25 years, I wrote a book called Together, and it had
Okay.
lots of pictures in it, and it was our life up to that point after 25 years. Well, 25 years later, Rodman Holman, the publisher, said, we want you to do an autobiography. I said, I already have. They said, yeah, but you've lived 25 years since then, and there's a lot of stuff in your
Mhm.
in your life that you haven't written about. So I did it, but I insisted on the title, Pat Boone's America, 50 Years, because I wanted, if I was going to tell more and more of what was happening in my life and career and the things that mattered to me when I started and that still did matter, I tried to live the same life during those 50 years while the ground underneath me was shifting and society was becoming so different. So I wanted to make it sort of a chronicle of me living my life the way I wanted to live it, but how the society underneath me and around me was changing to where I became an outsider. I was almost a joke in some cases to some people, and I was certainly not welcome in the entertainment business among many producers and filmmakers because of my lifestyle, because it was no longer commercial. And so when I put that book out, Rodman Holman, they only advertised it, and it's a great book, I must say, because I wrote every word of it, even the captions under the pictures, 200 pictures from our family files of all that was going on in my life, including the things, the charitable things and the crazy things and some of the mistakes and things where I started the American Basketball Association and owned the championship team, the Oakland Oaks, when we won the championship
Cool.
in 59, 69. I forgot the right year. I've got a ring that cost me several $1,000,000. We won the championship. I wanted to show it to Elizabeth Taylor and say, here's a ring that's more expensive than any ring Richard Burton ever bought you. But I never had that opportunity. But how did I get off that book? That book, they didn't promote the book. And so there's this autobiography that includes a lot of the stuff we've talked about that were not in that 25-year book called Together, but because they gave it a title, a 50-year journey through a culture. Through what? Through American culture. Well,
Wow.
that's not what people were going to buy for Christmas, and it sold about 4,000 copies at Christmas in Christian bookstores. That's the only place they put it, was in Christian bookstores. They didn't give it a Christian sounding title, which it certainly was if you read it all the way through, but it never got a full publishing by any major publisher. So I'm hoping now that we're going to get that book published again, because it's never really had a proper publishing. But
That's
I
a
thought
great
you
idea.
were mentioning it because the book is still available. I bought the whole inventory as well as the copyright. And I think we still have about 6,000 copies of the book in the warehouse, just pristine copies. It's a tabletop book, you know. It's a
Yep.
bigger than usual
Yep.
book with 200 pictures and my whole story from beginning to end. So yeah, answer to that question, yes, I have done 2 autobiographies, but if I don't watch out, I'm going to have to write a third.
Okay, you might
Oh,
need to
could
add
be.
to it. Yes.
Could be, and you can mention the Skip Happens podcast in there. I'm just saying.
Yeah. What do you call you? It's Skips. What's the name?
Skip happens.
Skip Happens. Well,
Yes.
you weren't letting Skip happen much tonight.
No, this is what it's supposed to be. This is great, and we're talking. Talking to you is, and listening to what you have to say, as I mentioned minutes ago, is just so memorizing and so just so good. So good.
Well, it's really what the world needs to hear, a lot of it.
Yeah, exactly. I think everybody needs to hear what you have to say. I think I would go and see you just to listen to you talk, because it's so you want to go, yeah.
Well, I hope they're going to listen to me sing at the Coach House.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Oh, well, I'm going to be doing a full 90-minute show, doing I can't do all of my hit records, although I'm doing a couple of medleys, which I've got to now remember the medleys of songs that were hits, but I can't do just back-to-back hits because there are too many. So I will sing Love Letters in the Sand and April Love and Speedy Gonzales and
Speedy Gonzales, I love that.
Just on and on. But then I'll do medleys of other songs. And interestingly, one of them is When the Swallows Come Back to Capistrano, which was a million seller. And I'm going to be singing in San Juan Capistrano. So it's going to ring true in that medley that I'm singing. I'll be singing about that area. When the swallows come back, they leave at a certain time of the year and then they come back. And you promise when they come back, you'll come back with the swallows.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That was it. I mean, I'll keep rattling off.
No, it's okay. I saw that somebody here said that Kay says she's got your book, which is cool.
Oh, good. Which one?
Kay is a big fan.
Kay is a big fan.
Oh, has got the Pat Boone's America?
Yep.
And I called it that particularly because I feel like the America I grew up in was the America we need now. And we've drifted so far in many ways, morally, spiritually. Barna and Gallup pollsters say less than 50% of Americans go to any place of worship. They may or may not pray. If they do, they don't know if anybody's hearing them. They don't know the Bible, and they're not interested in religious books. So my new book, If, which I before then, I say on the cover, not religious, just life or death. Life or death.
I love that.
And the title is If.
If.
And I'm hoping they'll say, if what? Well, open it up and see. There's pictures.
There you go.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that we'll get that book. It's on Amazon. It's been sold out twice on Amazon, but we got to keep prodding them.
Keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yep. Just keep doing it. And Donnie is mentioned here. I put it up there just a second ago, but he says you deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So
Donnie York.
Yeah, Donnie.
I'm so glad that he's still with us, although we're going to have plenty of time in heaven together. He's a strong believer, Donnie York. And of course, I love Sha Na Na. They're on our label, Pat Boone's Gold label. And that includes Donnie, of course. We published their records and promoted their records. And I even did I don't know if I recorded it, the song. No, they had already recorded it about
Cat and
the PT Cruiser. And I did a video with them to promote their record. And I called Chrysler and tried to get Chrysler to use the Sha Na Na song, The Cat and the PT Cruiser. It's a phenomenal, great song by Sha Na Na. Anyway, thanks for mentioning Donnie, because I could talk another hour about him.
Yeah. Now you said Donnie's with Sha Na Na.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Donnie York was with, and it is, I hope, maybe still.
Yeah, I don't know. I recognize the name because I've been doing music for quite a while, and Sha Na Na was actually at the New York State Fair for a whole lot of years, like year after year.
Donnie York was there. He was part of the original.
Yeah, and Bowser, and
Yeah, Donnie York. Yeah,
that's excellent, Pat. You know what? This has been, I don't even know how to describe it. It's been unreal. It's awesome. It's
very, very uplifting. Very
uplifting.
Long.
Well, I hope you come to the East Coast one day.
Do what? What?
But hopefully you'll come out to the East Coast at
Come to
some
the East
point.
Coast.
Oh, come to the East Coast. Yeah. Or are you in Syracuse, did you say?
Yes, we're in Syracuse. That's where
Yeah.
the podcast is based.
I did appear in Syracuse, but it was a long time ago. A fair. There's a fair, I think, that did take place there.
Well, we have the New York State Fair,
Oh,
and maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, I appeared there then. I did the movie State Fair, and I sang, "Our State Fair is a great state fair. Don't miss
Oh,
it."
yeah,
Don't
we know that well.
And, yeah, but then it was not popular to sing at the New York State Fair. I couldn't sing about the Texas State Fair in New York. But anyway, that was a happy experience. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, we're not going to keep you much longer here. I want our viewers and those people that are chiming in and those that watch this maybe after the fact to make sure that they go to patboone.com, right? Go right to the website, and they can get the album that's coming out with the 25, 26 million selling singles on there. I mean, every one is a smash.
Every one was a million selling hit, and I sung by yours truly. And I did them. I think every one of the original writers and performers of those songs would be happy with the way I treated their songs.
I'm sure they would be
proud to have done it. And in a way, as I say, it's a part of country history. This all of these songs, they cover at least a 30 to 50, 60 year period in American music. And so it's a compilation of some of the biggest hits in all those years, but it just happened to be sung by one artist.
Do you say you get out to the gym and all that? I mean, are you on your own when you go to the gym? Do you have your own driver, or
Well,
how's that?
for years, I have been all my life. I go and I work out, and always have. But recently, at COVID, I got lax, and I wasn't working out, and I was feeling the results of it. In fact, I've had to let out the pants I'm going to be wearing at the coach house 3 inches.
Oh, wow.
From where I was wearing it the last time I wore that outfit I'm wearing. It's a white, spangly, wonderful outfit made for me by the guy that makes so many of the rock and roll people's uniforms and costumes. But I had to let the waist out. I'm hoping. Then a guy at the gym said, "Why don't you let me?" He's a trainer. "Why don't you let me work out with you a couple mornings a week?" So that was about 2 months ago, and I'm going in Tuesdays and Fridays mornings, and today was a exception. This was a Friday. This is a Thursday. No, what is today? Oh, this is Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. I do the same thing, so don't worry about that.
Too busy, but yeah, Tuesday, Friday, I'm there at 9 o'clock, and I'll work out for an hour. And boy, we're working upper body, legs, breathing. In fact, I know that I'm going to sing better because of the stomach crunches that I'm doing. 60 or 70 or 80 crunches with big weights, and that works a lot of the same muscles you use in singing. And so I'm really exercising my vocals. I'm exercising my legs. I got to walk on stage. I got to move around the stage. I've got to stand up for 90 minutes and sing, and then try to remember all the words to all those songs.
That would be my killer right there.
I know.
Try to remember all those songs.
I'm not waiting till then. I'm singing them every day and every night. Well, not every day and night, every day or night. And I've got 1 or 2 more major rehearsals with my musicians. So I'll be ready. And I think, and if I do well and I enjoy it and the people like it, then it may not be my last concert. I'm saying it's going to be my first retirement concert.
Maybe it's your first retirement concert, but it's not your last concert. So,
well, we'll see. I have been approached already, except for COVID, I would have done one at the at the theater. What's the name of the theater in Branson? I was going to do the. Going to be the theater in Branson. I was going to do a tribute to Elvis in my last concert.
Oh, there's a huge theater in Branson. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, I was booked for it, and then COVID interrupted, and then so I haven't. You don't just jump back in and start singing well if you haven't been singing much at all. So now I'm going back to the beginning, and I'm going to be singing. And if it goes well, and if enough people want me to, I've already been approached about some of these shows that are like compilation shows, bring 3 or 4 or 5 recording artists together in one concert. And I did one once, and it went very well. And with the new platters and some of the new groups that are maybe don't have all the original performers, but they sing the same song. Mm-hmm. And I was going to do one with Bobby Rydell and Frankie Avalon, and that just got knocked out of the box. Mm-hmm. But I'm game for it. I can still do it. I think I can still. On a day like today, we pass the time away, writing love letters in the sand. April love is for the very young. I mean, I can still sing the songs. So better than that, by the way.
No, I thought that was pretty good. And I kind of interrupted you during it, but I was listening to Love Letters in the Sand. I had April Love on while we're connecting here in the beginning. Yeah. I was just, wow, this is just so good. Cheryl chimed in. What's this about a bicycle built for 6?
Oh, that I had one in when I was living in New Jersey. My career was going strong, and I was doing the Pat Boone Chevy show on ABC, and we had 4 little girls, and I loved to ride the bike. And Shirley was very athletic, and had already had 4 babies, and was now still athletic. And so we got a 2-seater and put a basket in front and a basket in the back. And so we have pictures of riding, all 6 of us, on a bicycle built for 6.
I love it.
Early doing all the pedaling. It was dangerous, man. I wouldn't want to do it now. I mean, when I bought my first Harley, and I had a sissy seat in the back for my granddaughters, I thought Shirley would never let any of my granddaughters get on a motorcycle with me, because, I mean, that was fairly new for me anyway. Although at one point we both had Suzukis, and hers was a Suzuki 250, I think, and she rode it better than I did. I mean, she's had a great sense of balance. I'm okay. But we both had motorcycles for a while, and we quit doing it because she would not countenance getting any of our daughters on a motorcycle. A bicycle, okay, maybe, if she was doing half the pedaling. And we did. I don't know how that came up. Who told you? Somebody Googled it or something?
Yeah, it was here. I'll bring it up on the screen. Cheryl Bowers said, when I came to your house, you and 3 of your daughters were on your bicycle built for 6.
Well, I did have, and I still have, a lovely bicycle, and it had I don't remember it being built for 6 though. Maybe I managed some way to squeeze them on, but we couldn't have gone very far because it wasn't built for 6. I don't know. I might have done something for laughs or fun.
Well, we've all done crazy things that we wouldn't do today, but back in the day, I mean, it's like riding in the back seat without seatbelts, or in a station wagon looking out the back window as mom and dad are driving down the road. You don't do that nowadays, Well,
no, you have to, in fact, we don't want to get too serious at the end, but it's dangerous these days. Mm-hmm. I mean, with the 2, what is it? It's almost 10 million or more people who've come here from 46 nations across a non-existent border. A lot of those people don't wish us well.
I know.
And there's a lot of things happening in city streets and good neighborhoods. I mean, we've got to wake up. We've got to get America awake, not awoke, awake.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I'm with you. I'm with you, Pat. I know we're
Well,
with you.
we gotta all of us go to bed now. I may just back up and take a nap now, right here.
Wait a minute, we're 3 hours after you, so I'm just.
I know.
No.
Oh, well, this has been a pleasure. This has
This
been
has
a true pleasure.
But pleasure skipping with you, just skipping away.
Skipping. And my neighbor, Maria White, is such a big fan of Pat Boone, and she was chiming in here earlier. She just can't believe it. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, you're talking to Pat Boone. Yes, Maria, I am. So,
well, George, do you know who George Norrie is on radio, all night radio? George Norrie. He's on from midnight to 4 in the morning.
Yeah,
and
but what network? I've heard the name.
Yeah, George Norry. He interviews people with all kinds of esoteric backgrounds and ideas and so on, and he's very, very interesting, very good. I don't know what network it is.
Yeah, I've heard the name,
but he's all over the country. But his mama is still with him, and she's a fan. And he always puts me on the phone with his mama.
Love it.
Every time I do George Norrie's show.
Coast to coast.
Coast to coast.
Coast to coast with George Norrie.
George Norrie.
Yep,
and
that's
he
it.
and I are buddies. We compare notes on a lot of things, and
I love it.
And in fact, I was Larry King's. I interviewed when he was just in a restaurant in Florida, doing a nighttime show before he's ever networked, and he and I and Bobby Darin were his first 2 interviews, Larry King, and then we stayed very close after that, because he lived out here in Beverly Hills. And anyway, look, everything we talk about is going to trigger me into something else. So I better.
We'll wait for your next book.
Yes, I'm looking forward. We're waiting for the next book.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that our viewers and our listeners jump on and click that link over in the comments. Make sure they buy the album and you'll autograph it. Or if they want to buy the book, it's there too.
This is
Pat Boone.
This is what it looks like. It doesn't look like.
Love it.
But this is what it looks like with me looking over it.
I should have taken a screenshot. That would have been.
And the back, I'm singing grits with a whole group of people, and I do think I'm going to make a little prophecy here that the video of grits may be in the running for the next Country Music Awards for Video of the Year, because it is fun. It's the kind of thing that country music used to be. It's all kinds of fun and frolic and dancing and a good tune and about some food that we like. And I think some of these videos today are morbid. They're about broken love affairs and stuff that I don't even want to repeat on the air. I mean, as far as pop and rock goes.
Yeah.
There's one called Vampire, which I can't believe that's actually could be played on the air, but it's like video of the year in pop records.
It's not like it was, Pat. We all know that.
Yeah.
But God, we still have you and you preaching and singing and all that on a good note. That's what keeps us going. People like you. And
well, then I better quit while I'm ahead then.
I think so, because I need to go get a cup of coffee. I need to do some other stuff. But no, all kidding aside, it's been an honor. It's been a pleasure to have you on Skip Happens tonight. You look great, my friend. Just keep doing what you're doing. And this has been such an honor. And I hope you enjoyed it as well.
I have. I mean, gosh, it's all about my career, and I'm a lot of bragging about it. But
no, you need to brag.
So,
we love it.
At 89 years old, you deserve to brag about your career.
Absolutely.
And you're still doing it. You're still going.
I sure do thank God for it. And
exactly.
It all came through His blessing. I didn't seek any of it. It all happened to me. It fell on me. Doors opened, and I just walked through and asked Him to use me in those areas. So
yeah, well, it's all worked out for you.
He took me up on it.
Yep.
Well,
and Buddy says, Pat Boone, you're absolutely still an American treasure. So that's pretty
thank
cool.
you for that.
It's Buddy Clements. So
Thank
pretty
you, guys.
cool.
Keep trying to live up to it.
Tell your team thank you very much for helping us
Thank you.
get connected tonight.
Yeah.
I know Dana was a big help, and everybody behind you there. And God bless you. And I'm looking forward to actually going on and buying an album. So that's going to be pretty cool.
Same.
We would
Getting a book.
send you one with it.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
getting a book.
And the book too, because I want everybody to know about the book, especially people who don't go to church and are not sure there is a God. That's the people I'm writing for.
Amazing.
Excellent. Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank God you do. Pat Boone, peace. Take care. God bless.
Thank you.
Stay
It's been a
healthy.
pleasure.
Bless you. And stay
Hope
healthy.
to see you on the road.
What happened to your? Oh, he's gone. His camera went. All right, Deb, that was pretty cool.
It was
That was good, and we're still on, but just Pat Boone is gone. But thank you to Pat Boone. I know they might still be able to see some of this. And what an interview! What just a great, heartwarming, just everything about him.
It was.
I'm not one for words. I can't. But I'm
It was
just.
extreme. I love history. I love listening to history for someone that's made a difference, and is still trying to make a difference.
And everybody's entitled to their opinions and their faith and all that. That's the way it is. And he's got it all covered, which is pretty awesome. And a big thank you. I see a lot of people chiming in. I'm sure a lot of those people are friends with Pat Boone, as well as friends with the Country Music Fan Club, and of course our followers here on Skip Happens. But we just want to say on behalf of Deb and I, thank you for watching. Make sure you give us a like on the YouTube. You subscribe to Skip Happens and also to the Country Music Fan Club page. So you can find it out.
He comes out this way. I hope we get to see him live at some point.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Plus,
cool.
I mean, you're hitting up Nashville quite often. You never know. You're there like every other week. Exactly. And I'm there every once in a while. So, all right, everybody, have a good night. Thank you for watching Skip Happens tonight. Good night, Deb.